it's Rogue. And I had to think so much before making this video because I couldn't really understand, why the Knight and the Screw Merchant are so dull to play, to the point of getting the nickname the Dull Merchant. But I think that in the end, I kind of got a grasp of it. So, basically, Behavior released both the Screw Merchant and the Knight as consecutive killers, and the community liked none of them. The community is not having them. We just don't like them, with some exception. Yeah, some people like them, but whatever. Now, the community is no stranger to find basically everything annoying, and Legion is annoying, and Cenobite is annoying, and whatever is annoying. Yeah, sure. But these two are really, really hated, and their peculiarity is that they're both disliked by the killer and the survivor community. Now, it's usually pretty rare to find killers that are disliked by both. So many people agree that, yeah, Legion is boring to play against, but it's so fun to play as. Yeah, Nurse, the matches are, just end in 5 seconds, and it's super frustrating, but she's so fun to play as, and she requires skill, arguably in my opinion, or whatever. But these two, killers don't like them either. Why? In order to explain it, I have to explain how I think a skillful killer gameplay is played. As a killer, you need to juggle with micro and macro management. I would agree that also survivors need to do the same thing, but killer needs to do it all on its own. They don't have teammates helping, they cannot hang on hook for a while, so it's this very tense gameplay where you need to both end your chases quickly, possibly by using your killer power because it's there to help you, and also you need to know where the survivors are at all times. Of course, you have indications of where they could be depending on if you heard a boon being set up, which gens have popped, how many people are injured, where did you see them the last time. But most of the work is on you and on the hours you have on killer specifically. Now, you can merge micro and macro management and getting someone that has, for example, thousands of hours on some killer, so they're both very good at chases and also know where the survivors are and what they're doing at all time, and so they can manage their time better and basically end games super oppressively with no slowdowns. It's people that we see having thousands and thousands of hours on the same killer. It doesn't really matter which one this killer is. It can be Blight, it can be Clown, it can be whatever. If you spend thousands of hours on a specific killer, you're gonna be good at both. And we also see people that have a very good macro management, but maybe they're playing a killer they don't really play for a daily, and so they're gonna miss a lot of shots or whatever. Maybe they're just not interested in the killer, but they need to play it for whatever reason, a challenge or something, and you can see that in the fact that their micromanagement is but their macro management is still really good. They apply a lot of pressure. Now, what the Knight and the Dull Merchant have in common is denying one of these two mechanics completely and making the game play it for you. What the Knight does is denying micromanagement. You just deploy guards. You find a survivor, you deploy a guard. You keep chasing them with another guard if the first one is expired, until at some point they're just cornered between the map, the guard, and you, and just get hit once, and then you just repeat the process and they get hit twice. Now, I wasn't playing it at the time, but I have seen clips of another killer that could do this on release. That was Legion. Legion could just hit you and hit you again and hit you again and hit you again and hit you again and down you eventually. And that was removed from the game because it makes no sense. It wasn't a particularly skillful gameplay. You just vault over pallets and windows and down the survivor, and that's where it ends. But what about the Knight? It does exactly the same thing. You just run after the survivor and deploy a guard and deploy a guard and deploy a guard and deploy a guard, and they go through everything until the survivor has nowhere to run because you have run out of loops. They're cornered and they die. Guess what? It doesn't matter if they have like 10 or 10,000 hours in the game. This is just how it works. Can you use it in a more skillful way? Of course you can, my brother. And, you know, good killers that main him use it in a more skillful way. And I'm not even going to argue about how skilled they are or how skillful gameplay of the knight is played as, because I am not, in the position of doing that. What I am in the position of saying is that it doesn't matter if you have any chasing skill. The knight is going to down you. That's it. That's it. It's very beginner friendly, but not in a good way. What I would deem a good beginner friendly killer is a killer that helps you understand how to play the game, but then you have to play it on your own. The game does not play itself for you. But what about the skill merchant? The skill merchant Antelope is not particularly good. Yes, she gets you exposed, which I would argue, contrary to Ghostface, Myers, or any other killer that can make you exposed, requires no effort from you. Like, all you have to do is deploying a drone. If the survivor stays, they are gonna get exposed. If they don't stay, well, guess what? They hold W. Hold W is probably the most unfun form of Antelope, but against some killers, like the artist, for example, who is a typical full W killer, you can counter it because deploying your birds requires skill. Depending on where you are positioned in the loop and how she positioned the crows, like where they're angled, what dots or spikes are in the loop that could disrupt the crow, you can actually still stay there. It takes skill. If you see killers that have like a very good macro management of the game because they have thousands of hours in it and they play artists, for example, for a daily or whatever, you will see that their deployment of crows is not the best. They will know where you are at all time. They will be very good at pressuring the map, but their antelope is gonna be a little bit weak. And what you're gonna do is you can still stay at the loop and just get the crows on you and repel them because they are not super precise with their shots, which is completely okay because being able to play a killer that is mechanically difficult, that requires some kind of mechanical skill, should require time. It doesn't matter how many thousands of hours you have on killer. The specific killer you're playing should require skill to be played optimally to get results, which is something both the Skill Merchant and the Knight do not require. But the real problem with the Skill Merchant, in my opinion, is the deploying of drones on top of hotspots, generators, or whatever. Because like that, you are forced to, you have the choice of not removing the drone, of course, but most likely you will have to deactivate it because, otherwise you're exposed and she's going to be undetectable if she approaches you. So maybe we don't want that. And once you have the claw trap on you, she's going to know at all times where you are. Yeah. I know that you can say like, oh yeah, but she can just not place the drone correctly, and in this way you can just work on the generator undisturbed. Yes, but you should not be reliant on the fact that the killer is like so absolutely as in that they cannot deploy a fucking drone like on top of a generator to stay safe. Like, that's not counterplay. That's the killer being incredibly bad. So yeah, she would know where you are at all time, and she would need zero game sense. She would need zero game sense for that. She just needs to check her tablet, and her tablet's gonna be like, "Yep, someone deactivated this drone," and she can just deploy another. Or, "Yep, someone is here. Yep, this survivor has a claw trap, and they're there." Oh, wow, so much skill, so much skill. You could argue that there are perks or are reading perks that tell you where the survivor is at all time. Yes, but they do it for a limited amount of time. Then it's on you. And that, of course, you could argue it doesn't really matter where you are. If you're good in chase, the killer can see Aurora 100% of the time. It's still not gonna matter. Yeah, I guess you guys are forgetting that we are not always playing against comp teams. We have a casual player base that would like to be playing this game without having to, express skill to counter something that requires zero skill. I am against stuff that is powerful and requires no skill. I am totally for super powerful stuff that requires a lot of skill. Hack tacking or whatever shit you do as Blybro. But, or carving with Billy, or it's stuff that requires skill that is fun to learn, to play as, and to play against. But if we are talking about stuff that just gives you an advantage for doing nothing, I've always been against it. And that goes to survivor stuff too. I do not like exhaustion perks like sprint burst or lithe because they do not require you at all to be skillful to use them. Now, I am totally fine with stuff that provides you, that is free and provides you small advantage, but especially against demon killers, sprint burst, light provide a very great advantage for doing what? Vaulting a window, hitting your sprint button. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's so good of you. And the same is for School Merchant. She gets the game to get her macro management for her completely for free. And if she wants to really be incredibly boring, which can, she can just put it on her Trigen and good riddance. I know that people are gonna say like, oh, but it's perks that actually make a Trigen. Oh, but every killer can hold a Trigen. I think where you have live information about what the survivors are doing at all time, that makes it much easier to hold the Trigen from the beginning of the game. Because I don't know, like, just think about it. That makes it much, much easier. Much, much easier. And much more sure for you, You can just be comfortable there, hold up your tablet and be like, yep, this is where the survivors are. Let me go harass them. Yay! So, yeah, I guess people just do not enjoy playing killers that play the game for you. And do you blame them? I don't. I think it's incredibly dull. Now, if you're wondering why Behavior specifically released these two killers, you know, sequentially, my suspicion is that they wanted to present to the player base some killers that are extremely beginner friendly. These two killers are really a bypass for all the mechanics that you need to learn in order to get better at killer, because we all know that once you get out of the most basic MMR, you get a pretty cold shower of people that actually know how to play the game and shit on you for a very long time until you understand all the perks and the mechanics and you start playing the game better. But I really don't think this is the way. I really don't think having the game automatically playing a part of it for you should actually be a mechanic in the game. No matter what killer you're playing, no matter what anything. People should get good. Yes, that's part of the charm and the appeal of the game. Getting good, getting better, seeing that you are hitting your tags, seeing that you are not missing your post phase hits, seeing that you're downing people in frenzy or whatever you do with your killers. That is something that makes the game worth playing. Having it play itself for you and you being able to completely skip whatever you should be learning from it, eh, that has been pretty much of a failure. I'm sorry. I guess Behavior tried. They tried to, go that way, but that was clearly not the right one. So I sincerely hope that for the anniversary we get some super fucking strong killer with a super high skill floor and ceiling. That would be absolutely my wish. Uh, that said, I am totally looking forward to criticism in the comments, and have a good night or day or whatever time it is where you are. Bye.